Good morning, guys. We've got kids up in the trees. I should say young men up in the trees. Working on the porch. I thought you might appreciate being privy to the action that's happening today. They are working on the back porch this time. We've got the front porch on hold because of supply chain issues with the windows, but they are moving wood, getting the roofing figured out. It's going to be a lot going on today, so sit tight, hang on, and let's see what they come up with. Let's also pray for their safety. If I can find the construction manager. Oh, there he is. Will this truck fit through this gap? This is the view outside of our back porch, which they're building, right off into the woods. We have to get that bucket truck back in here to set the beams. A little disclaimer that my husband wanted everyone to know is that we know that the bucket truck isn't officially for moving lumber, but with his weight of around 150 and the beams about 100, we do not max out the maximum capacity of the lift, which is 250. Also, to get to the back of our porch, we just didn't have too many options, and so the option of the bucket truck was within our reach, and so of course we did utilize what tools we had safely. Carry them over so they can put them in place. It's much easier. It is definitely still a construction zone, and we'll be very happy to clear all this stuff out once we get this project done. Let's see if we can see the construction manager on the backside. There he is. Doing a personal consult right now. These are the beams that are going to support the metal on the roof.
Stinker. Stinker likes to talk in the bucket truck.
Where's Stinker? You think she'd go up?
Huh?
You think she'd go up?
Well, I wouldn't like it, would you?
I think she'd freak out. Here he is from the back. Here's the first one that they set. Construction manager up on the ladder. So this is the path he travels to get down to get another beam to pick up. Something knocked my green bean cages over, so they are all shriveled up. But I still have some green beans to pick on them, so I need to get on that. Check the okra. Oh gracious. It seems inconceivable that there's more okra to pick. It seems like I keep picking okra, but looks like I've got to get out here and harvest that today, otherwise it's going to get too big. I walked up this hill from the RV, came to check on this water pump, which somebody with red hair left running. So that needs to be switched off because I'm sure our tanks are full. It's a beautiful day. It looks like a day for getting stuff done. I've already checked, and the okra needs to be picked, and I picked a few green beans that had been shriveled up. Okay, we're heading up the hill to check my other garden. Since I found green beans here, I thought we might have some up in this one where the arch is. I'm going to check that out. I'm going to swing over here and give you a view of the house, how it's shaping up. The boys are working on the back porch. They've got the front porch roofed and framed in and insulated, but we're waiting for windows, which seems to be a supply chain process that is really taking a while. So the back porch is more simple because we're not closing it in. No windows, it's just going to be a covered deck. So they worked yesterday very hard getting those beams set, which is probably the hardest part. Next, they're going to deck it out with wood, and then after that comes the metal. So they have the flashing, which will tie into the original flashing, and that ladder coming up out of there, that looks so wild. That is a ladder that actually goes all the way down to the deck. It's a really tall one. So they were working yesterday. I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to work around that big chimney. The sun is coming up. It's going to be a nice day. We're having fall-like temperatures a little bit, getting a smidgen of color in our tree. I think Greg said that those are the black gum trees that are turning. I don't know my black gum trees. I do know the sassafras, and that's what's in the foreground here, and they are turning a little bit as well. The moon is still out just a little bit. Got the shadows on the hills. Let's check these green beans. I think I see some hanging there. Up in my garden, I have these cosmos that are blooming. And it's been so cool because they didn't bloom all summer. I had sunflowers in this garden, and if you've seen anything that I've put on here, you know that I love to have a big sunflower garden. But I did have a packet of wildflowers that I just, tossed around and worked into the soil. Not many of them grew, but finally these cosmos did, and I think cosmos are just an annual, so have to enjoy them now, but they're very pretty and delicate. And I have to come way up here to find them. Turns out I do have green beans up here. The purple beans I've abandoned because they have gotten too big and beany. I'm not picking those, I'm just letting those go to seed. But the green beans I'm trying to stay on top of because they are tender if you get them young enough. So yeah, kind of a blessing. My zinnias are still going crazy up here in this garden. And I'm going to try to save some of their seeds too, because that's what I did last year and I got all this. This is a long bean. I think it's called a Chinese noodle bean. I didn't plant these this year. We planted them last year, and they get to be like 2 feet long, but this is just a little baby that's growing. And it's pretty cool how it's growing right out of the flower part, which I didn't know it did that. You've heard of the story of the monkey with his hand in the cookie jar, where he had so many in his hand that he wouldn't let go of, that he couldn't get his hand out of the cookie jar. So in other words, he couldn't enjoy what he had. I was like that. I had 2 hands full of green beans, plus more to pick, because I wasn't planning on coming up here to pick them this morning. However, there were some, so I went ahead. So I had to make a little pile on the ground to accommodate getting the rest of the green beans, because there are still more to pick. This, my friend, is the reason why, if you see white hairs on my head, that would be why. I have one who is fully licensed and able to operate this big truck, but I have a fear of heights and I don't like to see it. It's a construction zone, that's for sure. First they had to cut into the roof line to go get the angle so that the roofing rafters could be placed. And so that's what they were working on yesterday with Greg's help. This time they are getting the wood, whatever you want to call it, decking for the porch, and then the metal will go on top of that. This is going to be a much more simple project because we don't have to insulate it, we're not closing it in. It's just a deck, but the complication here is this chimney, which is coming straight ahead. When we put the chimney in, actually we didn't put it in, a friend of ours did, and he did such a good job to stabilize it, but at that point it was not going through any kind of roofing structure. It was just right up beside the house, and that worked, and now we're going to have to do flashing, figure out how to get that thing sealed so it doesn't leak. So there's a little bit more of a complicated issue just because of the chimney, but the rest of it is just covering the back deck of our house. Okay, it's slow going, but here's an update on the progress. They are using this wood to deck out the porch, and we are leaving spaces where that ladder is. There is a space, and over toward the bottom side of the porch, the right side of the porch roofing, about 6 feet in, we are leaving another space, and we are putting 2 clear roofing panels in there just to allow a little bit more light to come into our house. So one will be over the back pantry door, and one will be slightly over our bedroom window here. We did some of those clear panels on our camper canopy, and it has helped. Over time they do get kind of, I guess it's algae that develops on them, so we need to scrub them off, but it does a good job for allowing light to come in. Yeah, that's the update so far. They're going to be continuing bringing the decking out, and as you can see, some of the boards aren't nailed down, but working at it. It's hard work.